as far as this particular golf course, again, we'll talk about it next week, so keep that in mind. It's been held in Oak Hill twice. I think only twice, correct?
Correct.
Okay, 2003, 2013. So they're trying to do this every 10-year thing now. McKeel won it in 03 as a long shot, and Duffner won it in 13, and I remember that because I had money on Duffner that year. So, and that was the year. I don't know if you remember. Check out the highlights of Jason Duffner when he wins the event, and his ultra hot wife. I think it was a wife or he was engaged. And then when you saw that, you were like, dude, I mean, come on. I mean, I wonder why she likes you, Jason. And like 2 years later, they were divorced. It was like, boy, man, I mean, she really, I hope he had a prenup. But anyway, that was the high times for Jason Duffner. He was one of those guys that he had that beautiful, like really smooth swing. And he still does, but he was just didn't have anything else in his game, but he was hot. Everything was going great. And I don't know what happened to him, but he's never been the same player. So keep that in mind. We're going to have those two to look back on. And a couple other quick trends. And we'll talk about the main ones next week. 3 of the last 4 have been won by repeat champs. That's very strange, especially for a major. Meaning when Justin Thomas won it last year, it was his second PGA win. Phil Mickelson won it the year before, his second PGA win. A couple years before, Brooks Koepka won his second PGA Championship win. So that is kind of weird. So 4 of the last 6 PGA Championship winners have been won by 2 players, which is very strange. Justin Thomas and Brooks Koepka. And the last 2 winning scores, 5 under and 6 under.
Yep.
So do you think this is going to be a habit now? You think the PGA Championship wants to be more like the U.S. Open?
Yeah, I think it's going to play that way this year. So I want to talk about the course real quick. So, Duffner and McKeel were both shorter hitters. I think that might be a trap if you think this is like a short hitting course. This course looks completely different now than it did when Duffner won 10 years ago. They removed, I think the number is 600 trees they removed from the course.
Since 2013?
Since
okay.
Yeah, since 2013. They redesigned a lot of the greens as well. And let me tell you, it has rained a ton here in the past 2 weeks. So as long as they want that rough to be, they were able to grow it out. I haven't been there since last summer. I haven't really heard, but if they want the rough to be long and thick, it will be. And I kind of think that's how they're going to set it up. We'll see. So I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a U.S. Open type course where I'm probably going to be leaning more towards the long hitters, because I think you're going to have to be long off tee. And I think you're going to have to be able to power it out of that thick rough.
Okay, so are you looking for anything this week? Because here's an interesting, and this is definitely a trend that I need to bring up, and that is that if you look at it, when Phil Mickelson won in 2021, he broke a streak of 14 consecutive winners who appeared at the PGA Championship without a week off, preceding the PGA Championship. Justin Thomas followed that up the next year, did not have a week off, played the Byron Nelson. So basically now we're looking at, 15 out of 16, 14 out of 15, whatever. And when Mickelson won in 21, he also broke a streak of 17 consecutive winners who registered the top 30 in his previous event. And that's not too strange, because you want to come in, of course, playing some pretty good golf. Justin Thomas had finished 5th at the Byron Nelson the week before, including the fact that the last 25 winners have made the cut in their previous event, which, by the way, does not bode well for the man who just withdrew today, Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, Spieth's become the big story now for PGA Championship week, withdrawing with I think it was a left wrist injury. It was definitely a wrist, which tend to be tough. I think it was I think Berger before Daniel Berger, before he had his back injury, had a wrist injury that like basically killed an entire season for him. Now again, I don't know how serious Spieth is, but it's definitely a concern. Maybe he withdrew this week just to get a week off ahead of a major, but he also loves playing in Texas. He loves this event, so I kind of think it's a legit injury. So, not that I was considering betting Spieth next week anyways, because I really never bet Spieth, but we'll see what we hear, but that's enough for me to definitely not be betting him at this point if you were looking at him in the futures market.
Yeah, it's not a good sign if you were thinking of taking him, no question, because you do have to get, like you said, who knows? Maybe it's one of those things, because he even said it at the RBC when he said he was getting a little bit tired. Maybe he is getting tired, and he didn't play well at Wells Fargo. That was he did so well to get back into the event. He's 2 under par last hole, and he triple bogeys 18, and he was done after that. Now who knows? Maybe there was a wrist injury that occurred right there or the next day. We don't know, or it might have been he was frustrated. He got mentally just strung out, and he said to himself, "I have got to refresh my batteries." Maybe I'm not feeling a little bit. So I'll just say it's my wrist. So who knows? You're right. I guess we'll find out in the first round on next Thursday.
Yep.
All right. So what else are you looking at? Because I gave a couple of trends, which if you follow that, you might say, all right, well, and by the way, I don't think it's wrong in any way, shape, or form. I think it's definitely a part of that handicapping, the tools that you should be thinking about if they play at Byron Nelson this week. And don't forget about the guys who are playing on the Live Tour, because they're playing this week. And the one guy that I've got my eye on this week is Cameron Smith, because he's starting to play a little bit better now. And we saw what happened to Brooks Koepka the week before. He almost turned it into a Masters win. We've been waiting for Cameron Smith to wake up. And if he plays really well this week at Live, I think he's somebody that we have to look at next week.
For sure, yeah. Again, if we think it's going to play closer to a U.S. Open, I like that from a handicapping perspective, because I think on those type of setups, like, you can narrow the field down to like 20 guys that have a chance to win. When the courses play that long and hard, like, it's just the pool gets narrowed. So again, we'll see what we hear early next week. Again, I have a buddy that works at Oak Hill, so I can definitely ask him before next week's show, exactly what the course is looking like for tournament week. But you're gonna hate this one. I'm just looking at the numbers right now available on DraftKings, and you're gonna hate this one, Greg. But Patrick Cantlay at 22-1, I think, is the best value right now, and probably the only guy I'd consider betting right now, because I don't think you're gonna get a better number than that. I
wrote down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, actually, I'll say out of the 6 players I wrote down that were between Rahm and 35-1, one of those names I wrote down was Cantlay.
Okay, I mean, he's striking the ball unbelievably, and Wells Fargo wasn't his best event, but he still gained almost 3 strokes tee to green. And then I think we mentioned this pretty recently on a show, but bent grass is his best putting surface, and we haven't had a lot of tournaments on bent yet. It tends to be more of the surface we get to as we get into the summer now up on the East Coast. So putting wise, it's a good spot for him. He's just striking it so well. I have questions about his ability to close, especially in a major. But 22-1 is, I think, a good number on Patrick Cantlay, the way he's playing.
Well, the thing too is that at least if you take a look at his major history, this might be his best. He even has, I believe, a top 15. Yeah, no, a top 5. Excuse me. He finished 3rd about 4 years ago, and that's by far, I believe, his best ever major finish.
Where was that one? That was at Bethpage.
Was it?
Which is another, east. That's on Long Island.
There you go.
So another.
That's a good one. I have to write that down.
East Coast course. Yep.
Okay.
I was at that one too, by the way.
Who won that one?
That was Brooks over DJ.
Okay. So yeah. Yep. So keep that in mind. That's something that if we're ever going to take the chance with Cantlay in a major. This could be the one. And then the other ones that I circled, or that I had in my list that I circled actually, Scheffler, and that's just, and now 9-1 is one of those things where I don't see. Here's the thing: if Scheffler does really well this week, you might lose a point or two. You might go down to 7-1.
Yeah,
because he's 9-1, and if that matters to you, look. Bottom line, I'm going to say this: if you like Scheffler, take him now, because you're not going to get any. I don't think you're getting better than 9-1. I mean, I don't think you're going to get. I'd be a little bit surprised if you got 10-1. So I think this is the best that you can do. I think it's only going to get worse, so you might as well take him now.
I think that's right. I don't think he's going to get better than 9-1. Now, this is kind of off subject, but sometimes like DraftKings will offer like the plus 300 boosts for the majors, so you can use that on Scheffler and get him at 12-1.
Oh, really?
Next week, but yeah, I'm not sure they're going to do it next week, but they do tend to do that for majors. But I'm with you. I don't think you're going to get him better than 9-1, even if he struggles this week. So if you do like him, and 9-1's not bad. We've seen it. Well, what is he this week? He's 3.5-1. I know the field's not as strong, but I do think 9's a pretty good number.
And I might and look, I might actually take him. So if I'm going to take him, then I might myself do that. The only concern, but this is a Justin Thomas concern, is that he's not very good on bent grass. So that's the concern. All right, and then there are a couple other players. One of them is your boy, Max Homa. And Max is sitting there at 25-1. Now, I think on Bovada, he's 30-1. So if you're getting 30 to 25-1 on Homa, you're not getting better than that. There's no way. Now, he's not playing this week, so there's not going to be any of that stuff. But I just think, look, he had his best PGA Championship result last year, which is a good sign because we were waiting for something decent. And he's coming off a really solid 8th place finish last week, which is like he's getting ready, and I really felt, I didn't feel good. If he would have had another kind of nothing last week, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. But that 8th place finish yesterday leads me to believe that, you know what, maybe he's time. And now we've talked about taking him and holding him for the West Coast US Open. I get that. Yeah. But that doesn't mean we can't pick him in this one.
Right.
And we're talking about one and done, of course, for the US Open.
Yeah, I have the future on Homa at the US Open. I know a lot of people that bet golf have that future, so it would be kind of funny. It wouldn't be funny for me, but it would be funny if he wins the major before in Rochester. So
it would be great if you're there.
I think I think 30-1 is a good number for Homa for sure. We haven't seen him at that number really all year. I don't think.
And then the other one, and you're still getting good value here, is Matthew Fitzpatrick.
That's my guy.
35-1. I mean, you got to take that, I believe. And I've already put money on him. And what I'm going to do this week, I did it a little last week. I'm going to do it again this week. We talked about this before. I'm going to do some parlays. So, and again, you got to keep in mind, I know it's very difficult. We've taught it over and over again. It's difficult. Look, we're not saying that you're going to pick your top pick is going to be, hey, my top pick won this week and my top picks winning next week. We all know how difficult that is in golf. But it's not about top picks. It's about making sure that you have a variety of picks. So that can happen. You just got to look at it that way. So, I'm going to try to, like, for instance, with Scheffler at 9-1, I don't want to put, even if I pick him, I don't want to put a boatload of money on 9-1. That's such a low number. So what I might do is put a little bit of money on Scheffler. I mean, for this week at 3-1. Let me go back. So he's such a low price this week that there's no way I'm putting any money on him to win this week. I'm already going to say it. This is just a preview of what we're going to talk about. No way. But you know what? Well, I'll put a parlay on him. Maybe I'll put like a buck or two parlay on Scheffler and Matthew Fitzpatrick. That'll pay a couple $100 if Fitzpatrick wins next week.
Yeah, or you could even go Scheffler, the double.
You could do that. That would be a lot harder. But I'd rather just do the Scheffler Fitzpatrick and be you get a lot more money for it too. But anyway, that's the whole theory behind it. And then one more name that I circled was one of your Live Tour players, and that's Patrick Reed. You know, Reed is 65-1. And the reason why I bring him up is the same reason we brought up Cameron Smith at 22-1, is because if he plays well this week at Live, the number will go down. And because he's got the name recognition. He did have a runner-up at the PGA Championship in 2017, so he's had his moments with this major. He was fourth at the Masters. So I think fourth at the Masters, solid Live Tour year. If he were to play well or win this week, you're going to lose that 65-1, and you might want to take it early.
Yeah, for sure. He's playing well. The two guys I'd consider betting on. Again, I'm not sure if I will, but there are also two guys who I'm not sure the number's going to get better. The first is Fitzpatrick at 35. Yep. The other one for me, I'm going to go back to him, is Sung J M. He's playing so well. Like a win has to be coming.
What's
from him.
what's holding him back?
Numbers wise, nothing. He's doing everything well. It's just 8th at Wells Fargo, 7th at Heritage, 16th at the Masters, 6th at the Players. He just he's right there. I don't see anything holding him back. It's hard to win PGA Tour tournaments.
So there's no particular part of his game that's holding him back from stats that you've noticed. Okay.
Nope. He's gaining across the board. He's doing everything well, which is that's the type of player he is when he's going well. There's really no weakness to his game. He's a good putter. He's not the longest hitter. That's why I'm not sure I love the course for him, but he is one of the most accurate drivers, at least among the top end players. So that's another way to beat these long courses with thick rough. Even if you're not a long hitter, just at least keep it in the fairway, so you're not having to play out of that rough.
And now I know he played the PGA Championship a couple of years ago. I forgot why he didn't play last year, but he finished 17th.
That's good.
In 21, and his best majors, he was runner-up at the. All of his best major results come from the Masters. He was second in 2020. He was 8th last year at the Masters.
I still think that's worth. I think being in the mix at any major is worth something.
Sure.
Like I think that experience is could help him win a major, even if it's not the Masters.
So I don't know if he's played the PGA Championship more than once.
Yeah, he played it in 18, 19, 20, and 21.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he came 17th and 21, like you said. He actually missed the cut in 20 and 19.
Oh, okay, that's what I was.
Came 42nd in 2018.
Okay. So.
Not the best record.
So you're telling me, but from what you said, has he improved each year?
He went 42nd, missed
42nd, missed cut. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
really
anyway,
nothing until
nothing
21.
great so far. But look, you don't have to. I mean, he hasn't won since when? 21, the Shriners.
Yeah, it sounds right. It's been 21 at the Shriners.
He's got 2 wins. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Honda was his best win, really. I'm kind of surprised that they think the Shriners was his better win. I don't know why they would say that. Why would the Shriners be a better win than the Honda Classic? Oh, maybe because of the points he won. Maybe that's what they were looking at. I don't know. Boy, the poor Honda. I don't know. It's such a good golf course.
I know. I love that course.
To me, that's more impressive, without a doubt. And then some of the other long shots that I'm thinking about that I just put there, just Hatton, because he's 50-1, and if he plays well again this week, I think that could go down as low as 35-1. Justin Rose, by the way, even though it says 65-1 here, you can get Justin Rose at Bovada at 90-1. And I know that Rose has a good history at PGA Championship golf courses, and he's actually playing pretty well. I kind of thought that the Masters was a good fit for him, but you never know. I still believe that a guy like Rose that has the major pedigree, that gets off to an early start with the win, he's going to be dangerous in majors. And one of these majors, I think he's going to be there. So maybe it's this one. Gooch is still about 80-1, and he's coming off back-to-back wins at the Live Tour. The only thing is Gooch is like one of those Burns kind of guys on majors. He hasn't really shown that when the spotlight's on, he could do it. Ricky and Adam Scott are both 80-1. And Matt Kuchar's 150-1. He's playing this week. So those are some of the guys. And as you can see, Fowler, Scott, and Kuchar, especially Scott and Kuchar. I mean, these are guys battle tested. Kuchar, of course, never won a major, so his time is running out. But he could still, maybe he could still do it. Everything would have to work out for him, but he's playing well. So,
yeah, I like the Hatton call especially. He's a guy that's been close. I mean, third last week, second at the Players, fourth at API, sixth at WMPO. I mean, he's a guy that's been close to winning this year, and he's good enough where I think he is going to win a major at some point in his career. The only long shot that catches my eye, and I think last week I talked about how I can't bet Shane Lowry anymore. Gary Woodland's getting close to that stage for me.
I've noticed that.
Gary Woodland led the field last week, tee to green.
Okay.
He was better even than Wyndham Clark, but he again lost 3.5 strokes putting. And you do that, you come 14th. If you could just have a break even putting week and strike it like he's striking, he's going to win. But every week he's losing 3, 5, 6 strokes putting. So I mean he's 100-1 for the PGA. Like, if you want to take a shot that he actually somehow putts well for a week, I think that's interesting. But other than that, I don't see any.
Yeah, but that's actually sometimes that's the best ailment, because you can get really hot putting.
Oh yeah,
and
most guys do, but Woodland he never has that hot putting week.
Well, he must have had a hot week at Pebble.
Yeah, I think it was actually a couple starts ago he gained like 4 strokes. I remember talking about it last week. Yeah, at Heritage he actually gained.
We'd have to go back and see what his putting was like when he won at Pebble.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, well, that's everything. The guy's won a major before, so yeah. When he won at Pebble, he gained 7.2 strokes putting.
There you go. Yeah, because he's 160th in bent grass.
Yeah,
that's not good.
But it's actually his least bad surface.
Really? So he's like a really bad putter.
He's even worse on Bermuda. And
wow.
So yeah, he's a horrible putter. I mean, but
okay,
horrible putters sometimes have a hot week.
That's it.
But